So this is episode 1 of the offer. There will be many more to come from here, but this is basically the beginning on how you structure whatever offer you have for your either service or product, whatever it may be. So with that being said, let's just jump straight into it. So who am I? My name is Connor. I own a marketing company and I've operated in both the online coaching space and the trade space, serving both B2B and B2C markets. I've turned over 8 figures in deals for my clients and turned over 7 figures as an agency alone. So yeah, I can sort of back what I'm saying here. All other testimonies can be seen on my website, which you can find across numerous of my platforms. So what are we going to cover today? I'm going to be showing you how to build an irresistible offer that makes people say yes, even if you're just starting out. So this includes the following. So we've got outcomes, timeframes, guarantees and risk reversal, value stacking, and creating urgency. Now, creating urgency might not necessarily be good for your offer, but we'll cover that a bit later on. So by the end of this 5 to 10 minute segment, you will have a full offer structured and ready. So in the beginning especially, your offer is most likely getting ignored, not because it's bad, but just because it's not structured properly, which is what we're going to cover today. So what is the overall outcome of your offer? The offer is a set of deliverables that gets a client a tangible result. So let's say, for instance, you're going to guarantee an individual 10 leads. The deliverables, so to say, are the how-to on how we get the tangible result to that client. So for an example, having a cold calling data list to book appointments is not going to just generate a result on its own. It's a contingent on things like having a CRM and a calendar to book in with and a rep to actually do the calling. So your offer focus is just on the result. All the ins and outs on how you achieve X result is not really needed, okay? You sell the result, not the process. So your outcome needs to solve a pain point ideally as well. It's so much easier to sell to someone who has a need rather than a nice to have, okay? So to put it very simply, your offer is your 10 leads you're giving to the client. Now your deliverables are things like cold email, cold calling, 52 hours talk time from a cold calling rep. So timeframes. Now, a time frame is necessary in today's world. Speed is everything. Usually, any type of agency is either going to provide X amount of value or speed up the process, which in result is going to get someone value faster. So you can excel as a new startup if you come in at speed. So if you're a new startup in the world of agencies, everyone's probably doing what you're doing. You're probably one of a million, but if you can be faster than the rest of the market, then you stand out more than anything. To put it blank, everyone wanted it done yesterday, all right? No one wants it done next week, no one wants it done next month. Everyone wants it now. If you can do that, do it. But don't put yourself in a bad situation. Now, as a service-based business, you can go anywhere from within an hour to over a few months. Either way, you need a time frame to an extent for that customer journey. See, even if it's not a service, but it's a info product or a webinar you're selling, or a PDF, for example, you still need to be able to say you will achieve X result from what we teach by X amount of time. Because it's like if you do a PDF on how to get leads from cold email, you need to give them a rough estimation of time as to how long that's going to take to get those leads. Okay, not everyone does, but you're going to stand out more in the market with your offer if you can give them the time frame. Now, guarantees and risk reversal. Okay, a guarantee is the best way to gain trust, especially from a cold perspective, right? When you come in from cold, it's really hard to get trust with that person on the other line. Now, a guarantee, like I said, is brilliant, but the prospect always wants to know the what ifs. And that's what you open up to when you give a guarantee. It's like, okay, I'm going to guarantee you 10 leads. Okay, well, what if you don't get me the 10 leads? So that's when you go into the situation of, oh, we do a refund policy or we do this, that, and the other. And that's your risk reversal, right? So like I've just said, this is why we have a risk reversal. An example of guarantee with risk reversal would be 10 leads in a month or you get your money back guarantee. Not only that, but you're gaining trust by also providing less risk, which results in the prospect being faster to act, okay? And especially if you're going from cold, you want that prospect over the line ASAP, right? Everyone says to me, I go, Connor, oh yeah, like I prefer warm leads, I prefer warm traffic, I prefer referral. Who doesn't? Do you know how easy it is to sell to someone who's keen to get more of your business? It's the easiest thing ever, right? But if you want cash within 24 hours, nothing is going to beat cold calling, cold email, anything from cold that goes straight to the prospect. So another thing is as well, when it comes to the marketing, a risk reversal can increase your lead conversion. Just make sure you're not being too bait and switch with it. And what I mean by that is don't promise them X and then have to like change it around in your sales call to say, oh, well, I'm actually giving you Y. And it also forces you to have better service delivery, especially when your money's on the line. If you tell someone you're going to get this result within 30 days, if you don't do that and your money's on the line, you'll know about it, trust me, okay? So yeah, it's not too bad. You can get it as a benefit if you look at it in the right way. So moving on, we have value stacking. Now, value stacking is where you can provide your offer at X price, but you tell the prospect you're going to throw in all these sort of extras at no cost. 9 times out of 10, these extras are just going to be your deliverables, right? You know how we went back to what we said earlier? You have your offer, which is 10 leads, and then you could say like, oh, we're also going to throw in an extra cold email campaign on top of our outreach. It's a deliverable, but it's something extra you're providing, right? It's not part of the offer. It is part of the offer, but you're going to make them feel like you're providing them more. So another example of this could be, you know, we're going to do a free automated process to increase your sit rate with CRM workflows, which we usually charge, I don't know, £500 or basically whatever you would normally charge that on a one-off price basis. As this is something you're already doing, it's a great way to make the client feel like you are stacking more on the offer than you've already given them, which comes across very personable. You know, and like we said earlier, you want someone to act faster, especially from a cold perspective. So if you can give them more than they're paying for, yeah. So creating urgency, right? Now this is offer dependent. So we're gonna get a little bit technical here. Now, if you lose me, rewind back and watch it again, okay? So a demand generation offer, which is a offer you can generate demand for, okay? Now, a demand capture offer does not exactly lead to a quantifiable result, or it can only be sold to someone who is actively looking for it, okay? Stay with me. Now we're gonna look at how we market these offers, right? So demand generation mechanism, okay? So if you're on Instagram and an ad pops up, you are interrupting someone and trying to create demand via the interruption, okay? So you're on stories on Instagram and all of a sudden ad pops up and they're trying to hook you within the first 3 seconds, right? That's a demand generation mechanism, okay? So stay with me. Demand capture mechanism, okay? So this would be an example of like Google Ads, for instance, okay? Let's say someone has bought a car and they're looking for car insurance. You are intercepting the demand, right? They're looking for car insurance and you're gonna intercept that. They type in like cheap car insurance for new drivers. Ad pops up, right? You're interrupting the demand. So if you're a car insurance company, right, it doesn't make sense to convince people they need car insurance where they might not have a car, okay? It's contingent on something else taking place. You need to access people who are currently in demand for that offer. Now, you could argue that you could get opt-in data, right? And then just cold call through all of it if you didn't want to go down the Google Ads route. Now, opt-in data is basically where someone has, let's say for instance, someone wants to find solar, right? Okay, they've opted in to be spoke to about solar, right? That could be an example. Now, there are instances, right, where you can sell a demand capture offer, right, with a demand generation mechanism. And I know I've put capture mechanism there. I've got that wrong on the thing, but yeah. So there are instances where you can sell a demand capture offer with a demand generation mechanism, okay? But you would have to ensure that all your data would consist of car owners, right? If we go back to that example of the insurance company, you would then have to turbo ram volume and just by coincidence, find someone who owns a car who's also actively looking for insurance, right? Very inefficient, but sometimes that's all you can do. So when you build your offer, try and tailor it so it's either demand generation or demand capture, and make sure your marketing is paired with the right one, okay? Do not try and mix the two. It's very inefficient. You will just be trying to get leads by coincidence, okay? So this is how we're gonna put it all together, right? So find what pain point you solve, right? And have your offer written with a tangible result, okay? That result is either fixing pain point or providing X, which is gonna fix pain point anyway, right? If I provide someone 10 leads, their pain point is not that they need 10 leads, their pain point is that they can't get work in the door, right? So I've solved that by providing them leads, okay? If you're gonna go from cold, especially as a new offer, throw in a guarantee, throw in some risk reversal, okay? Now, your risk reversal could always be providing a time frame which you can achieve X result for the prospect in a certain amount of time. Do not shoot yourself in the foot. Time and time again, I see people make massive promises to be done within 10 days, right? It's not gonna happen. You're gonna have people doing claims against you and all sorts, right? It's just not worth the time, especially in the beginning. Trust me, you don't want any of that, okay? Now, provide a value stack after to give the prospect an extra reason to work with you. Remember, like I said in the beginning, there are probably millions of people doing the same thing as you. How can you stand out from the crowd? And remember what we just mentioned a minute ago, understand. When prospecting, if you are demand generation or demand capture, know the difference. If you've already forgot, go back in the video and listen to it again, okay? So demand generation, demand capture, throw that aside for a second. Outside of that, your offer should look something like this, okay? We are going to help you achieve fixing pain point within the next 30 days or risk reversal, and we're gonna throw in a value stack entirely free. So I'll give you an example for a solar installer, right? We're gonna help you save £200 a month within the next 12 months or money back guarantee. And on top of that, we're gonna give you a free energy assessment so you can see the figures for yourself. There's an offer, right? And that's just one example. Now, if you've got your offer that you've just built together and you want to speak to me about it and see if it's the right thing, feel free to either comment down below, message me on Instagram, X, Facebook, or shoot me an email at connor@tnwmarketing.com. So that totals up here on how to create an irresistible offer. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot them down below and I will get back to you. Aside from that, best of luck prospecting.